Hey, it's Manly Parks and welcome to another episode of the Brandywine Angler. It's about 5 o'clock in the evening, another Sunday afternoon session or Sunday early evening session for me here. Going to be on a really small creek, different than the one I normally fish near my house. Going to be trying out the ultralight spinning setup today and a couple of new lures that I think might do well in this little creek. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, we're going to start off today. We got a little 1/64 ounce Trout Magnet jig head and about a 2-inch mayfly in motor oil color. I picked these up on eBay, Crawdads fishing tackle, and I just think this might be very effective in here on these creek fish. So we're going to give it a try. It's a new pattern for me. I suppose it's most like the Anisoptera from Eurotackle. It's similar but a little bit bigger, and we'll see how it fishes. In addition, from the gear perspective, we have an L.L Bean kind of tackle sling bag here. This is a new bag for me, and I'm going to see how it works. So far, it's super convenient and very comfortable, and it's pretty easy to use. So when it gets really hot and I don't feel like having that giant fly fishing vest on, I thought this sling bag might be great, especially for, you know, when we've got some of these trips where we don't need to take a ton of gear. Although, frankly, this sling bag holds a ton of gear. I was surprised how much space there is in it. Well, we'll see how the sling bag works out. So there'll be, I guess, an equipment review component of this as well. Well, right out of the gate, I had a pretty feisty little largemouth bass hit, jumped a bunch of times, got him right to my feet here, and he flipped off right as I went to grab him. But almost immediate, like second cast basically with the lure. So that's a pretty good sign, I would say. We'll see if I can get one on camera for you. Now, literally the very next cast, you can see another largemouth, almost exactly the same size as the one that I just lost. Beautiful markings on him, and he fought like crazy and jumped a ton. Great little fish. Off he goes. Our next victim of the mayfly is this greedy little red breast sunfish. It's a pretty big meal for him, but he ate it. Next cast, another red breast. Beautiful fish too. The colors on this guy are pretty incredible. Another beautiful little red breast here. Carbon copy of the one I caught just a minute or two ago. So that was pretty interesting what just happened. I cast it out in this spot right out there 2 or 3 times with the little 2-inch mayfly. No hits. Put on a little 1-inch gulp minnow on the same exact Trout Magnet jig head. Very first cast. Got a hit. So that's pretty interesting. I'm gonna stick with the gulp here based on that for a little while and see how I do. All right, second cast of the gulp. Got this little fall fish, tiny little guy, but you know, beats not catching any fish. All right, well, after trying the gulp minnow for a little while and catching some fall fish on that, bunch of little teeny tiny fall fish, I switched over to the Eurotackle Metacraw in brown and picked up another small fall fish and then this nice pretty red breast. All right, so I put on that little Metacraw and managed to pick up another little largemouth. He fought great, jumped like crazy. It's a good fish. Release him right here. There he goes. None the worse for wear, although a little confused. Now he's figured out he's free. So here's the Metacraw on the Trout Magnet 1/64 ounce jig head. These claws are sort of thin and flap a good bit in the water. And look pretty good. The only downside is that it's soft plastic and they get bitten off a little bit, but you know, all in all, I'd say a pretty good bait. It's a lure from Eurotackle. That's an aquarium-sized red breast on the Metacraw. Tiny, tiny little guy. Fits in the palm easily. A little bit better red breast on the Metacraw. Beautiful, beautiful spawning colors on this guy. A little bit better red breast on the Metacraw here. Nice fish. Fought pretty good too. Another red breast on the Metacraw. That one grabbed it and was headed for the hills. So I found a spot here with a real concentration of fish. What we have is, the creek comes down, comes through this sort of open, shallow spot. At any depth is going to be on the far side. And then it kind of starts to come into what's a bend here. And you can see all those rocks on the outside edge of that bend. And they're just loaded with red breasts over on the far side. We have a really nice rock bass here that just slammed this Metacraw. He hit it hard. Really good looking fish. One of the bigger rock bass I've caught in any of these creeks around here. Off he goes. There he goes. Nice little fall fish right over near where the rock bass hit, also on the Metacraw. Very next cast, even nicer fall fish. Just 2 casts later, a nice rock bass, nowhere near the size of that first one, but still like pretty chunky. Two casts later, same spot. This nice little largemouth, probably about 11-12 inches, which is pretty big for this little creek. Felt like I had a whale on for a second compared to some of those other little fish I've been catching. From a larger largemouth to a very, very small largemouth, right just a couple minutes later, right in the same spot. 2 casts later, nice little rock bass. Very next cast, another rock bass. The very next cast again, as soon as it hit the water, another rock bass. Very next cast after the rock bass, and I got this nice little red breast. I cast it about 2 or 3 feet or 4 feet to the left of where the rock bass were, and this red breast did it again as soon as it hit the water. 2 casts later, miniature rock bass. It's getting pretty dark, but it's still light enough to see what incredible colors this fish has. Caught 2 casts after I caught the tiny little rock bass. Well, once again, a great evening of fishing. Another successful Sunday session out here on a little creek. Lots of fun, lots of fish, nice mix of species. Very surprised that I got as many largemouth bass as I got and no smallmouth. That's maybe a first in one of these creeks, so that's a little bit surprising. Also interesting how much success we had on the Metacraw. We did okay on the mayfly. We caught some fish on the 1-inch gulp, but the Metacraw really was effective this evening. Maybe it was just this evening. These are creek fish. Maybe any lure would have been successful, but that Metacraw was impressive tonight. Well, as always, I'm the Brandywine angler Manly Parks. Thanks for watching. We will catch you next time. So I almost forgot to share with you my thoughts about that tackle sling. First time I've ever used one. Absolutely super piece of equipment. Comfortable, plenty of space in there for the amount of tackle that I needed to carry. Probably holds less than my vest, but that particular sling has all kinds of pockets. It's very well designed. It's got a couple of zingers built into it, so I have one set up with my hemostats, which happily I didn't need to use today, and I have another set up with my line clippers. Didn't need to use those today either, but 2 built-in zingers. Very easy spot to put your hemostats or your hook remover or whatever. It's really easy to use because you kind of just swing it around your shoulders when you need to get into it, and it's set up so that when you swing it around, it opens from the top right in front of you, so super convenient. Yeah, I loved it. And it's also a lot more comfortable on a hot evening than the vest. The vest is great, but the vest can get a little bit warm, and so if I don't need to carry all that stuff and it's a hot evening, I think the tackle sling is the way to go. Anyway, that's my 2 cents after first use of the thing. If after using it a little bit more I have some further insights or change my opinion, I'll give everybody an update.